Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kieran, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Mighty Cunapple Show. Yes, welcome. By the way, we're over on Spotify and on iTunes now, AJ. So that's always fun. I don't know if you knew
What
about
is
that.
that picture?
What is that picture? It's nothing. It's fine. Don't worry about it. But yes, welcome to the Mighty Cunapple Show. If you don't know what this is, we are a chat show that's live every Sunday, or tries to be every Sunday. I took last Sunday off for personal reasons, but I'm back this week. I'm back this week with a can of Pepsi and with AJ.
Oh, hi.
Also
We
known
haven't
as
done this in
Drake.
a while.
Yeah, we haven't. Yeah, like literally, me and AJ have been catching up over the past hour or so because we've not talked to each other in months because of COVID and life stuff. So that's fun.
Thank you, Rona.
Yeah, thank you, Rona. But it's good. We have a brand new season of the Mighty Cunapple Show, so it's good to have AJ back with an interesting topic, no less.
And for once, me and Bundy do not agree on something.
We don't.
Stay tuned.
Not fully. Not fully. We have disagreements, but it's fine. But yes. So yes, this episode we're going to be talking a lot about, primarily Remothered Broken Porcelain, and we're going to be spoiling things. We're going to be talking the full shebang. So, if you haven't played the game, it's best, and you want to play the game, it's best to tune out this episode or tune in later to the podcast because we're also going to be talking a bit about generalized survival horror in general. Yeah. so yeah. But yeah.
Before we start,
Uh-huh.
let's just say what version of the game we played. I played after the game was the first time on PS4. Bundy, you played the.
I played day one patch and then the patch after that.
Okay,
Yeah.
and the reason we're being specific about that is in case anybody listens to this like after they fix it. So anything we're saying is anything we're saying is based on the port that we have currently, and what was it, October 18th we're on?
Yeah, October 18th.
Yeah.
And also, by the way, this is episode 20. We've gotten 20 episodes of the Mighty Cunapple Show, which is strange because I felt like we've done more.
It actually does feel like you've done way more.
Yeah, it feels like I've done way more because I think it's been like over a year since I've started it. Because last August, in August 2019 is when I started it. And that was when I started uni, so there's that, yeah. But it took a long time. But anyway, Remothered. Oh man, where should we start first, AJ? Where should we start first? Because I've got like a list here of things to talk about.
Let's start with the gameplay.
The gameplay?
Let's just get it out of the way.
Okay. So, do you know what? Let's take turns because we have like both differing opinions. Like you state your opinion on it, and then if I have something to chime in, then I'll chime in. Then I say my opinion on it, and if you have something to chime in, you can chime in as well.
Okay, so I guess we'll just start with how broken the controls are.
It's shite.
Yeah.
Disappointing.
So the first Remothered, all you would have to do is just hold, what was it, Bundy? The R1 button for Rosemary to run.
Yeah.
There's a weird input lag in this game, Broken Porcelain, where I don't know even how to explain it. Like you have to push the button, but sometimes she won't run. And when you're crawling, there's an input lag to get back up. And there's also an input lag when you're trying to run from your stalker and burst through a door. Like Rosemary would just go like full force. Jennifer, she gets stuck on the door or stuck in the environment while you're running.
There are some times where I'm like going full on sprint, and then by the time she gets to the door, she like slightly opens it, and I'm like, "The fuck are you doing? You're being chased by 3 people, one with a gun. You should have more."
So the next thing
I
want to talk about, we got like the aiming. My God, the aiming.
Yeah.
Just like the original, you could pick up, you have your defense items, and then you have like your knife is like your disposable in case you get caught. I don't know how many times when I was doing the convent fight with, again, spoilers. If you have not played the game, you're getting spoilers. There's a fight where you have to go up against Lynn as the Red Nun, and you have to stun her. I don't know how many times when I was trying to throw the brick, it either went through her or it just did not touch her.
Yeah, like the projectiles were so weird because like I remember a few times where it's like, see how you have like the dotted line to where it's going to go, where your object is going to go.
Yeah.
Like, I would be like, okay, this is where it's going to go. This is where I lined up perfectly. I throw it, and then it ends up hitting the roof, and I'm like,
Yep.
like, what? I've died so many times in this game, not because of my honest mistakes, just by the game just being fucking dumb.
There's actually a really funny bug I got, and I don't know if you like do post production or whatever, but if you want me to send it to you later, I will. I got the video. There was a bug where I was trying to hide from Andrea in Jennifer's room in the crate, and she saw me, so I tried to spam to get out right away. And when Jennifer was getting out, she did her animation when she was going to grab you.
Yeah.
And for some reason, it spawned Jennifer on top of the crate, and I couldn't get out of the crate.
Oh, yeah, I remember seeing that clip on Twitter, actually, yeah. And then Andrea just sort of stood there.
Yeah, she's like, Jennifer!
Yeah.
What did I do anything?
I didn't know this was going to be, a fucking... I don't know, I can't remember the fucking phrase she said. Basically, it's like, oh, yes, this is a hotel, not a... What's the word?
I don't work with crybabies.
I don't work with crybabies, but she also doesn't work with a... Fuck, what's the word? Orphanage. Yeah, there we are. Sorry, it took me way too... The joke is just didn't land now because I forgot the fucking word.
Somebody like very hard. You can touch it. It's not like women.
Yeah, literally. See, this podcast, by the way, guys, is probably going to be like half of it ranting more than like a structured thing. Just saying. Because the more I talk about it, the more frustrated I become. And I have a can of Pepsi here, so I'm becoming more hyper as the day goes by.
We've been trying not to talk to each other either, so we wouldn't influence each other before we did the podcast.
Yeah. Fucking Christ.
So what about you, Bunny, before we get into the other like subjects, like
the gameplay?
Only thing we haven't touched on was the moth ability. I thought that was very hard to control.
Moth ability is a barrel of shite. There was no need for that to be... Well, the thing is, the reason why I'd put in there was to, like, innovate or something. But, like, I barely used it until times it was literally forced for you to use it. And even when it was forced for me to use it, there was one bit when I was sitting there and you had to fly through a vent to help out Lynn when she was getting strangled. It took me about 7 tries to fly through that vent because there's no reverse button. And then, like, even when you let go of the acceleration, you're still floating like you're in fucking space.
He's not even joking, people. The only way to control it is R2 to make it go forward.
Yeah.
And then you use, I think it's either the right analog stick or the left one to move, like, go different directions. But it goes at the fucking speed of light.
Sorry, I picked off a scab there on my finger and it was bleeding everywhere. But yeah, literally. And so, like, even when you're trying to turn, it's not like an instantaneous turn. It's like more of like a gradual thing. So, like, there's this like straight, 90 degrees angle in this vent, and you're like trying to like just turn to get into it, and you need to like fucking back up in this truck and then go through. It's like the Austin Powers scene where you're like fucking jimmying, and then like by the time you get through, the moth eye ability is ran out and you can't help Lynn, and so you need to do it another time. But thankfully the Porcelain that's in the room, he doesn't know you're there because he doesn't really give a shit, so it's fine. You can take as long as the time you need. Oh, moth eye. I hate moth eye.
Talk about how fast Stalker. Yes, that's actually a good point to bring up. Only Pastries in chat said, can we talk about how fast the stalkers attack you and just stun lock you to death? That has been patched. I just want to put that out there. Yeah. It's not on consoles yet. It's been patched on Steam. But it happened to me so many times, especially with Porcelain because of his reach with the cane.
Where he just chibbed you. That's it. Like, the thing is, like, you'll be running about, and by the time you recover from the first chib, he starts like chibbing you about 5 more times until you die, and you're like, oh, fantastic, that's fun. And the thing is, like, with the Porcelain as well, see his attacking. Sorry, I'm speaking really fast. I should probably slow down. Like with his attacking, it's just so unimpactful.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem threatening. It literally is the definition of a chip.
Like Mr. X, kind of.
Yeah. But no,
like
it's just
more in your face and like throwing you across the room or something.
Yeah, it's just this lanky cunt just walking towards you with a wee cane and pokes you like an old man.
Shout out to Matt for making his voice intimidating.
The voice acting for him was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I wish we got more of it.
Let's see. What did you think of the boss fights?
Excuse me. They were there. They existed. Again, like, that's the thing. The majority of this game is like, oh, we should throw in this, and that to make it different and to make it, like, innovative. And make it, like, improve upon Tormented Fathers. But, like, Yeah, it's just
I was just gonna say before we go forward that moth thing.
yeah.
It was basically the side jacking from Siren.
Exactly, yeah. Do you know I actually got quite a lot of Siren vibes from this game? Like, see, just by like the visual, like them being infected by the moths, I got like a good Siren vibe from it.
Uh
It
huh.
was strange. It was so weird.
I'm trying to
But
think of like.
I don't know if
I think the only boss fight that gave me issues was the Red Nun one.
the Red Nun, where she's the fucking Red Nun. Oh my god.
Which I
Just
actually predicted too, by the way. Remember how I thought I said? Remember when we first saw the trailer and the Red Gnome was revealed? I was like,
yeah,
"That's Rosemary. She's gonna be evil." It
yeah.
technically was Rosemary.
Technically, I loved it because it was like. See, the thing is, I know we're like jumping all about the place. It's only
We
been
are.
like 10 minutes, but we'll get more like structured as we go on. But with that boss fight, it was so dumb because the Red Nun Gloria, she was literally walking around in a circle.
Yeah.
And then when you flew at her with the moth eye, she would awkwardly turn around and walk away from you. It's like, what is your goal here? What are you trying to do? Why are you just walking
I
around in a
didn't even know I
circle?
was doing anything at first
Yeah,
because my game bugged out, and instead of Lynn yelling like "Jennifer, help me,"
yeah,
she was just standing. I didn't know what was going. I thought you were supposed to like stop the nun and then
yeah,
throw something at her.
yeah. What did you think of see the stalkers in general? Like their character and
I
how
thought in
like their yeah,
I
their
thought
actions and stuff.
Andrea was like the most intimidating one.
Yeah, she's like an old woman. We're all scared of old women.
I think the most annoying was Mr. Ashman because of the gun.
Yeah. He do you know what? He is literally like an enemy from Siren.
Yeah,
He is literally an enemy. He does the awkward shooting and you're just annoyed. Do you know what actually he's the policeman from the very start of Siren Blood Curse. I don't know if you've played Siren Blood Curse. But
I have not. But it will be soon.
yeah, where he's like he walks around awkwardly and then he pulls out his gun and then shoots you and then you just scattered about the place. Yeah, it's really irritating. But yeah, he is essentially the policeman from Siren Blood Curse, which is just and not a good comparison to me.
I do want to say though, I think there was much more potential for Andrea that was not tapped into.
Yeah, like the thing is with the stalkers, right? They were all over the place, and I think like this goes into like what we were talking about before the podcast with exploration as well,
Mm-hmm.
where they could have had like 3 floors of the mansion, and every floor had their own stalker. So like top floor had Andrea, bottom floor had Ashman, and middle had like Alyssa. So they're all like utilized instead of like cramming them into areas they just didn't need to be. Like with the restaurant, they're just sort of all bundled up together, and you're like, oh, this is just
Yeah, and I remember the first time you and I
yeah,
saw that trailer, and we're like, "Holy fuck!" And then
yeah. I was like, oh, this is
it
cool.
was a letdown.
It was boring, and I think
It
that was the
was,
only time where there was 3 stalkers in the one room.
and then
I
we had
think.
the Red Nun right on top of us too.
Oh yeah, and like the second you leave, the red nun just shows up, and I'm like, okay. Oh, that's another bit. Oh yeah, I forgot about this. Right. Okay. So after you meet the red nun for the first time, there, Jennifer's like backs up, jumps through a window, and then you're randomly teleported next to Alyssa, who's like,
Mm-hmm.
calm down, it's fine. It's like, hang on, A, how did I get over here? And B, Jennifer, why are you no like stoning this lassie in the head because she was just trying to murder you with a fire axe about 10 minutes ago?
I don't know. To be fair, she was freaking the fuck out. She just one. She wasn't like hitting her or anything, which she
Yeah.
should have been.
To be fair, like if I was in that situation and I was freaking the fuck out, like everything trying to murder me, and then I see a familiar face that was also trying to murder me, I would either run away from her or punch her and then run away from her or continually punch her.
I would have used a snow globe.
Yeah, get a snow globe, smash in the head,
Oh,
run away, or just
also
keep.
in chat, only Pacers, but Eliza was the most dumb stalker ever. To be
Hmm.
fair, me and Bundy were talking about this before we started. We forgot she was there half the time.
Yeah, she was just there.
Yeah,
Like,
so technically it wasn't even 3 stalkers because she just wasn't there.
yeah, like again. She was only there for what the restaurant scene and maybe another scene that's very forgetful that I'm not
The
remembering.
flashback.
The flashback, yeah,
Yeah,
and then you're chasing her about and shit like that. But that's a thing we can get into during the story bit.
yeah, look,
But
yeah.
Yeah, but it's just like, yeah, Alyssa. Again, it's all about just cramming as much in as possible in a little time frame as possible. In like, if they really thought through this game in terms of gameplay and exploration, yeah, I think it could have been really a cool experience. But they just didn't. They just threw in ingredients and never cooked it.
Although I gotta say,
It's just
there was one thing that made me laugh my ass off.
uh,
When you go out onto the patio for the first time, when you're like being chased by Andrea, and you can use the O button to jump off the
I
balcony.
did that.
You and my friend CB did it. I was like, nope, I know Chris is trolling.
I was like, oh wait, do we just is that it? Do we just jump over the banister? And then it came into a loan screen, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's it. And then it just reset. And I'm like, fuck's sake. You can get away with that troll if the game was alright. I would have taken
really an old school troll, and everybody I watched fell for it.
God damn it. God damn it. I mean, to be fair, like when you're thinking about it, it's like, where else would you go? Like, realistically, if I was in that situation, I would jump over the banister.
But yeah, I just
that's what I would do.
There was a lot of wasted potential when it came to Jennifer's like body type compared to Rosemary for like hiding and like they had where you could crawl under things, but it was very only once.
Yeah, like there was also the vent thing, or is it the vent thing? It's like random squares in the wall, and you're like can crawl through it. They only had that a few times. Again, it all comes back down to exploration and the fact that there's actually not much areas to go to. There's like a handful of areas in this game that are just reused constantly.
That was actually the biggest thing that griped me.
Yeah.
Like, I get it for flashbacks or whatever, but the fact that we had to go through the inn, like the first floor, like 3-4 times.
Yeah.
And like I said, I don't understand why that top floor, we didn't get to explore the top floor of the Ashman Inn.
No. Again, like I said this to AJ before the podcast, but there is essentially an entire inn with only 3 rooms.
Mm-hmm.
This must be the most luxurious inn ever because you have 3, so you have like 3 occupants and then they have their own cinema room next to it. It's like, what?
See, it's still fresh in my head. First floor, we had the main room.
Mm-hmm.
We had Ashman's little room. We had the kitchen. We had the back area. So that's like 4 rooms just for the first floor, and then it was just the 2 rooms up top.
Yeah.
The hallway, Andrea's room, another hallway, and that was it.
Yeah, and then none of that even connected to the restaurant area.
No.
Like, none of it did. And
that's... I'm glad you brought that up, because I thought I was, like, hallucinating or some shit. Where the hell does the kitchen connect?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I'm guessing, like, see the doorway where the red nun was?
Yeah.
I'm guessing it comes through, like, that's how you connect the entire thing, but, like, I'm just like... Where I want the layout of this place because it doesn't. Yeah, again, they just didn't feel like that was one of the reasons why I was excited for this game was the location of it because it felt like very much like The Shining, with like the locale and everything, and they just didn't utilize it. They just didn't. They didn't think it through. They didn't like make a cool experience where it's like, let's say,
Oh, don't worry, only pastries. We're gonna get to that.
Oh yeah. By the way, just for like audio listeners and YouTube listeners, we're actually live on Twitch. I say that every episode, but just in case we do bring up the chat. That's why. But yeah, it's weird. This game is just so strange because like there's no. It cuts back and forth. That there's not really much time. Like there's no going from point A to point B. Like, and have it been lengthy in a way?
I think
like in one continuous stream?
I think my biggest gripe is I can forgive the gameplay not being, like, modernized or whatever.
Yeah.
If the controls worked.
Yeah.
That's, like, my biggest gripe. Like, to me, it reminds me of the Tomb Raider Angel of Darkness fiasco all over again.
Can you remind people what that is? Because I'm actually not too sure about it as
well. 2003, Tomb Raider: The Angel of Darkness was supposed to be the first next-gen Tomb Raider game for PlayStation 2.
Mm-hmm.
Game was constantly delayed, and when it came out, the controls were just insufferable. Like, you would try to make Laura run. Before she would start running, she would go into a jog, and then she would start running, fucking up your platforming. You tell her to go up, she goes back. You tell her to go left, she goes right.
Yeah.
They inverted the camera controls on the PS2. It was bad. It was just really fucking bad. And that's the same issue that I'm feeling here. Like, it just took me right back to Angel of Darkness.
Yeah.
And that's what I said. Like, I can forgive the gameplay being, like, a little bit more lackluster because they are trying to, like, go back to that 90s inspired horror.
Yeah.
If the controls worked. Like, I don't understand how they screwed this up. Remothered 1, yes, it didn't have, like, the most tightest controls, but they worked.
Yeah, it's like what I said to you. It's like, it's nothing to write home about, but it was decent. Like, you could play the game and you would enjoy it. But yeah, this game, I just don't understand how they could just. It felt. Do you know what? This game felt way more simplistic and downgraded than Tormented Fathers. Am I muted? I'm not muted.
Oh, I didn't hear you the entire time you're talking.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, that was strange. No, I looked at my thing. I was like, no, I'm on.
Fuck.
Oh, I think
it's Discord.
I think AJ's having a technical difficulty. AJ,
Wait,
there? Hello. I don't know what's going on. AJ, hello.
What about now?
Can you hear me?
Testing.
All right. I don't know what the fuck is going on. AJ, hello.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes. Okay, thank God.
AJ, can you hear me? Alright, okay, he can. I don't know what's going on here. He said yes, but I can't hear you now. The fuck is going on with Discord? This is strange.
What about now?
I can hear you, yeah, hello.
I don't know what the fuck just happened.
So let's just, like, make it clear.
Now?
Right, I'm gonna ask you.
Monday.
Can you hear me? Oh, you can't hear him. What the fuck is going on?
What is happening?
So he can't hear me right now. I can hear him. But then sometimes I don't know what's going on. What in the fuck? Hang on, let me just switch servers. Hello? Hello?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Hello.
I have no idea what's going on.
I'm going to type, yes, I can hear you. Can you?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Are you sure? Because you keep cutting out and I'm getting confused.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think Discord is having issues because I saw the connection going up and down.
Right, because I swapped the region to Europe now.
God damn it. Okay,
so
let's
I think
try
that
again.
Fixed everything. Technical difficulties, ladies and gentlemen. Technical difficulties. So
the beauty of doing it live.
Yes. Only Pashy's in the chat said Modus Games is tapping into your Discord because they know you're talking shit. Probably. But hello, Lucy. How's it going? Yeah, that was weird. That was fucking strange. So what we were talking about again? Exploration.
Oh, we were talking about the controls and how Remothered 1 did it better.
Yeah. So yeah, Remothered 1. No, I get what I was saying. Yeah, like they just, I feel like Broken Porcelain was such a downgrade. They simplified the game so much more than Tormented Fathers in terms of everything, really.
Yeah.
Like, was there any puzzles in this game?
Besides the fuse one, I don't think so.
No puzzles. Like, you got an objective for, like, every little thing. This game felt way more linear than fucking...
It was streamlined. I think people were bitching about how hard the first one was, but the whole point of these games is to figure out everything on your own.
Yeah, it's like you're given a location, figure shit out. That's like, I enjoy that. I enjoy that way more than here's an objective, go do this now, or go do that now, go do that now. It's just like,
well, that's how we figured out the Felton's mansion to begin with, just by memory.
Yeah. Like, you go in, unlock this door, and then you go in. Oh wait, where's this thing? Oh, it must be in this location because I've explored all of this location. So it's like, yeah, if you're not a complete idiot, I'm sure you can figure it out. You will figure it out because it's even Tormented Fathers wasn't even that complicated if you think about it.
No, it really wasn't. It was more so
Yeah,
people being trained for this modernized gaming where
yeah,
everything was hand holding.
yeah.
So
But
I don't.
yeah,
It's really fucking weird. But on the last part of that subject, the only thing that really pissed me off is how they handled before going into cutscenes with certain scenes. Like it was so abrupt, or you'd be in like Jennifer's room and all of a sudden she's on the bed.
Oh, the fucking cutscene. Oh man, yeah, the cutscenes were atrocious. By the way, they were so
Like
bad.
how are we in 2020 and developers don't know about the fade out effect?
I think this game just falls flat when it comes to just transitions in general. Like
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, like what was it when you're going into the Ashman office the very first time, and you get a fire extinguisher and you fight him, and you have to die to him, and then the second you die, you're randomly teleported again. You're like, wait,
Well, at
is
least
that
you
meant to
actually got to
happen?
die. I did
Yeah.
not. It reloaded it, and I had to replay the entire section. I was so pissed.
I just didn't know what the fuck was going on. There were so many times where it's like the gameplay just ended and then it goes into a cutscene. And then even during the cutscene, they randomly put in a random like gameplay thing where you're seeing it from the perspective of like Jennifer and you're looking about and it's like, no, this just takes me right out of the cutscene and because it's not even
Oh
implemented
my
that
god,
well.
Bundy.
Yeah.
That part where Jennifer's on the bed and you're in first person, I had to lose it through my playthrough because Andrea kept glitching out where 1 minute her hands would be up, then they'd be down, then they'd be up, then they'd be down.
I never got anything like that. I was just bamboozled through the
It
entire
only
thing.
happened one time, so I think it was just like a
But even
you know,
yeah, even
yeah.
then, it's like thinking about those cutscenes. It just reminds me of the storytelling parts of it. But we won't get into that until a little second. But like for gameplay, like we've covered Stalkers, we're covering Moth Eye,
I
and
think we covered boss fights, we covered
yeah,
the controls.
it's not really like a complicated game. But
No.
then again, there's leveling up in this game in skills.
Oh my god. You take it, Bundy, you take it.
Right, so this entire game, right? I don't know how long it is. So 6, 7 hours long.
I want to say I got maybe 12. No, maybe 9, 10 hours out of it.
All right, I think for me, I got about 6, 7, maybe 8. So I went through this entire game, and I want to say about the 6, 7 hour mark, I discovered this box in the basement, and I click on the box, and it's like, oh, you can level up your skills, and I'm like, this is a weird time to introduce that, isn't it? Why the fuck would you introduce this like when the game is nearly finished? What is the point in that? And apparently, it's in the game throughout the entire game. I just never came across it, never seen it. I
Yeah,
was
we
like, what?
actually
Yeah, but you want to know something, AJ? You want to know something?
yeah.
So even when I first discovered a box, I had like what over 100 moth keys, which moth keys are something you pick up in order to upgrade. And I was like, okay, may as well while I'm here if I can upgrade something. I wasn't allowed. I couldn't do it because the game was glitched. So even when I had the option, I was like, well, I've made it this far. I made it this
I'm just
far.
gonna be blunt.
It's fine.
I don't think I am tired of games putting in a level up system or a skill tree just for the sake of having it because every other game
There's
has it.
no point in having it. There was no point.
No,
Yeah.
it added nothing to the gameplay. I was telling Bundy before we started streaming, I actually saved in the very beginning of the game, and they give you like 60, 70 keys,
Yeah.
and that's enough to level up every, like, not every ability, but one branch of the skill thing. So I would level it up, get my trophy, reload the game, level up the next one, get my trophy. But yeah, there was
Cheater.
absolutely no reason for it.
Bloody
And
cheater.
Lucy in chat says the game sounds like it was just undercooked and rushed to be sold for Halloween
Yeah.
season. I think what they did is they released it early because they didn't want to go up against Amnesia's remake.
Yeah. Or is Amnesia Rebirth, which is a sequel, it's not a remake.
Yeah, well, whatever the fuck it is, I don't follow it.
I don't follow it either, I just know. Cause
Yeah, I will say though,
yeah.
even in comparison to other games that we have promoted and that complete utter disaster Daymare, it's still more playable.
Yeah, like see when comparing it to the likes of Damer, like you have to give Remothered credit because it is way more original than fucking what you're seeing like
And no matter
anywhere
what
else.
anybody says, the game is indies.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. But then again, you can only give indie developers so much leeway, you know?
It
Because
depends. At
I,
least this game actually feels like they put something behind it.
yeah, like, but the thing is, like, I've seen indie developers with less experience make more polished products, and it's a bigger scoped game as well. And so, like, when you have a literal, like, if you're under the brand of like a studio, and you're like an established studio that has made prior products, then how? Yeah, it's like you can't keep giving excuses. You know, there's only I think it gets past a certain point before you're not. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck my
Well, we
sentence was
do
going there,
have to give
but
them. We have to give them a little bit of credit though, because unlike most games, which take forever to get a patch,
hmm.
this game has been getting patched every day since release on Steam.
that
The console ones are coming.
that is true, but it's also insanely weird. Where like if these are problems that could be fixed within a day, why weren't they fixed before launch? Especially because the YouTuber demo thing, the streamer whatever the fuck that was sent out like a couple of weeks before launch,
It's like
everyone yeah, something like that, and they all had the same problems as launch date, and so if why didn't you just patch the bugs there and then? And
my thing is
even though like I'm
why
sorry,
why did they even give this to people early, especially
yeah.
streamers? Why would you want your game showcase broken?
Yeah, exactly. Even though, like, I'm pretty sure Chris or Stormind or someone on Twitter said, "Oh yeah, the demo is like a couple of months old build."
Oh, I had to correct that.
Is that a correction?
No, not for you.
All right,
In chat, only Pastry says Chris Darrell had two studios helping him with the game for 2 years. There is no excuse why this game was a buggy mess. One studio.
one
Modus is the
studio. Yeah,
publisher.
yeah. Modus is a publisher. They're not, and they're yeah. They handle advertising and things like that, and getting the game out there, but not like development.
Also, Chris Darrell, not a developer, writer, director.
Yeah, yeah. But what was I saying? Yeah,
We were talking
YouTuber
about the
developer.
excuses.
Yeah. So like, yeah, they kept saying it's like, oh yeah, it's a month's old build, but then again, like, if this is a month's old build, how could like, why didn't a month's old build that can be fixed in one day? Why did it launch this with the same bugs as this month's
Yeah,
old
my
build?
thing is, why not delay it
Like,
until like December?
yeah, like it's fine to miss Halloween season. To be fair, it would actually probably fit Christmas way more because it's snowy and stuff, you know. So it's like,
I was actually thinking that when I was
yeah.
playing it. Very cold.
Yeah, very cold. And the thing is, the game's even in like the winter season, so like it would be more like you could have like fun advertisements in a fun ad campaign if it was released in like December or something, you know?
And also, before we move on to the next subject, I just want to answer this question from Only Pastries.
Yeah.
I want your two opinions on people on Twitter defending the game. I honestly feel like they don't need to defend it. Here's the thing. When it comes to games, movies, music, any kind of art, people are going to defend it if they enjoy a certain aspect of it. Like with Broken Porcelain, there's a lot that I didn't like about the gameplay, but I love the story.
Yeah.
What makes it interesting about like social media and stuff like that is the discussion. It's when people start getting to the point where their opinion is the only one that matters.
Yeah.
Is when things go south. Like if they want to defend it, let them defend it, as long as they're giving actual reasons for defending it.
Yeah, I would say like when it comes to like Twitter, especially social media in general, people don't discuss, they just shout things at each other.
They do, they just scream.
Yeah, they don't like you can, yeah, they're defending something, but they're defending something by yeah, it's just dumb. It's just yeah, don't listen to people on Twitter. Yeah, essentially. Yeah. Even when it's for and against something, Twitter and social media are not the best places to go. Especially like if you're wanting to defend something, there's no point because the thing is with arguments like these in social media, when you go and you defend something, it doesn't have a resolution. It never has a resolution. There's no like, oh yes, I am wrong. Because no one likes saying that they're wrong, so they'll never admit it.
Too,
so, like,
people forget, even with podcasts or discussing on Twitter, these are nothing more than opinion pieces.
Yeah.
Just like reviews or, shit like that.
Yeah.
What me and Bundy are saying, people could disagree with, like both of us, and they could love the game to pieces. That's fine.
Yeah.
They spent their money, but we're still getting our opinions out.
Yeah. I think like one last bit on the gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever use the dodge?
Once by accident.
I'd used it by accident, and because like this is the one thing that I just remembered, like the tutorial where it's like you have to stealth Andrea, and it gives you that tutorial as you're being attacked by Andrea. And then I could never I didn't once use stealth thing because it just didn't work for me. I don't know why, but it just didn't work.
Actually, one more issue now that you brought that up.
Yeah.
Besides the dodge mechanic, I promise this is going somewhere. The buttons themselves, when you try to pick up an item, you have to have it very specific when you try to pick up something, or the game will not even have the pop-up come up. Like when you're even trying to stab Andrea.
Yeah.
Like it would have worked. Like it comes back to the controls again. It just feels like there's some kind of weird input lag. Like I thought the stealthing was really fun. It's just if the controls would have actually worked correctly and the button prompts would have propped up when they were supposed to, it would have been much more thrilling.
Yeah.
Instead, we're fighting with the controls and the button prompts not popping up. Like the gameplay, I think I could sum it up for both of us, is just broken and frustrating.
Yeah, undercooked, as Lucy said earlier. It's just the game is just undercooked drastically. That's good. To be fair, see this game.
Better than Daymare.
It's still better than Daymare. This game in general could have actually been delayed by about 5 months, I would say. Maybe a year, just to like rethink a lot of things about it.
Honestly, they should have. Like I said,
they really should have. Yeah.
The game I could be wrong. I hope if I am, somebody will correct me. The game director is from Italy, so I'm assuming the game is made in Italy.
Yeah.
And they got hit the hardest when COVID first happened.
Yeah, that's true.
So just that alone, they should have delayed the game.
Yeah, which it makes you think is like, was it the developer's decision or the publisher's decision to release it?
I just think the developers were incompetent.
Yeah. I think, to be fair, like I think it's a mixture of both. I think it's a mixture of the developers being incompetent and also the publisher being incompetent as well.
Which is actually ironic because I don't know if you have it in your game, Bundy, but let me grab it. When I opened up my copy, it has a little pamphlet inside of it.
Oh, yeah. Is it the Modus pamphlet?
That says, Modus is a publisher dedicated to supporting kick-ass independent developers around the world. Thank you for your support. Wow, buddy.
Yeah.
Maybe
kick-ass.
If you would have backed your game instead of rushing it out for Halloween season.
I have an idea. Right, okay, so on the back of this pamphlet, it says, how can you support them? Tell your friends about Remothered Broken Porcelain, but also share your gameplay and thoughts on social media with #ModusMoment. #ModusMoment. I'm going to use that when sharing about this podcast when it's uploaded.
Please do. Also,
man.
maybe instead of, releasing your game broken, you should have focused more on, like, they were great for promotion, but you didn't need to go to streamers that, one, are not interested in your game to begin with and show no interest for a free copy. And they're just going to rag on it anyway. It's fucking broken. What are you doing?
Again, it's like, I remember talking, I think it was with Only Pastries that's in the chat now, like a few weeks ago, when she mentioned the demo to me. Like, I didn't watch the demo until, again, like, when the game came out. And I said then, and I'm just going to repeat it now, that demos, you can't defend them too much for being broken, because it's a person's first experience. Demos are meant for people to, like, it's basically an incentive for people to buy the game. So it's like
beta alphas, they're for testing purposes.
Yeah, betas and alphas are for testing purposes, but for demos it's purely like commercial. And it's about,
I still think they should have done what me and you were talking about. They should have put this fucker into early access.
Yeah, early access. Because the first game was in early access. Why can't this one?
Yeah, and look how much polish Remothered 1 got.
Yeah. Like, because they took in feedback and they, of course the game was broken at first, but then it made it into, like, a solid product, so...
It just makes me really mad now, because this game is going to be more than a... It's not ever going to be looked at as serious. Like, people don't realize the first impression is everything. It's basically going to be, like, meme-worthy now.
Yeah, and that sort of leads me into... Well, we'll touch on story in a second, but this is one thing I want to talk about, is the whole developer mentality of release it now, fix it later. Where developers know their product is broken, but they release it now because they'll be like, oh, no, it's fine, we'll patch it, and then it'll become good, and people will be like, oh, yes, here we go, because that's what happened with No Man's Sky. Like, people use that as a great example of a game's comeback. And yeah, the game is... Sorry?
Oh, I was just going to say, I'm half and half on this one. Continue.
Yeah, but then again, it's like, with No Man's Sky, yeah, the game's really good now, but they should not have fucking released that at launch. It's the same with, like, a game that I played now, like Fallout 76. That game, when it released, we always seen it on the news, we always seen it everywhere. That was, like, the most fucking disastrous thing imaginable. And they patched it, and they made it good. They should not do that. They should have a game be fucking stable. They should have a game be a solid product. And yes, they are allowed to have, like, a few bugs here and there, but nothing that is literally fundamentally breaking. Like, that is just, there's no excuse for that. Especially if it's not an early access title, there is no excuse for a fundamental bug to be in there. No excuse.
Okay, see, now I'm kind of half and half on this.
Right.
Mostly because I've been seeing so many games destroyed over the stupidest shit.
Yeah.
Just examples. I want to say Mass Effect Andromeda. Just because it was a little buggy and the animations were a little wonky.
Yeah.
People ripped on that game, made it a meme thing, completely ruined it.
Yeah.
Anthem. It had promise. It could have been great. People ripped on it. Yes, it's very repetitive, but it's very playable as well.
Yeah.
Avengers, they're trying to kill that now.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I understand that there's a lot of people out there. Like, again, it goes into this fucking society in general where people are out to just cancel everything and destroy. Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say the reason I'm half and half.
Yeah.
Is because most of these games have the online and then the single player completely separate, which is like its own entity.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. Just because there's a couple of bugs here and there, right away people are pissed off, and they don't really know the difference between groundbreaking bugs, or game-breaking bugs, and just like things that get ironed out. It's the gratification that they want everything right now. Everything has to be perfect. You know, there could be no slip-ups.
No, that's the thing.
Just
like,
not gonna happen.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's the for me. I want a game. I want, like, to play a game from start to finish.
Yeah, you want
and have it work at least. You know, like, I'm fine. Like, see, I played Days Gone when it first launched. That game had frame dips when you were driving around, and I was like, do you know what? That's fine because the game is actually pretty good and it's pretty fun. But it still does, yeah. So yeah, it still does. But I wouldn't call that necessarily groundbreaking. I would say that that's a game that is too big for the platform it's on. For, like,
that's the biggest issue with most of these games, the engines.
Yeah, like, the engines are outdated, and so is the consoles as well. Like, the console came back out in 2013, and so you're running, like, a big ambitious game on, like, a 7-year-old bit of hardware. So, like, I understand that, but when I say groundbreaking and fundamental, I mean something like you walk into a room and everything's just broken.
You fall through the floor.
You fall through the floor, shit like that. Like, again with this game as well, where it's like fucking Mr. Ashman just randomly appearing during the cutscene and like bugging out and stuff like that. It's stuff like this where it's like it should have been patched out. Like, you should have noticed this before the game launches. The stuff like that should have been fixed, you know?
I guess what I'm just tired of is everybody thinking they're a critic. They don't play video games to be a hobby anymore.
Yeah.
It's more so about just like rushing as much as they can, and then they're like just going off on social media about everything that's negative,
Yeah.
forgetting about the positive.
Yeah. No, yeah, exactly. I
You know what I
totally agree
mean?
with that. Yeah, I like a lot of people are very artsy and again, like you say, critical nowadays of things. And
They think
I
they're critics.
yeah, they think they're critics. For me, I just I just sort of say things as it is. I would never fucking call myself like a critic or like game reviewer or
No, no,
whatever.
no, no,
I
no.
just sort of I play something and if I'm unhappy with it, I'm like, yeah, I'm unhappy with this. This is the reason why
Yeah,
I'm unhappy with this.
me and you
Yeah,
are actually on the same page. If we don't enjoy something, we don't sit there and bash it. We just move
yeah,
on.
yeah. Like that's the thing. Like with this game, I probably won't ever play it again because I just didn't enjoy it in terms of gameplay. And even when they patched the bugs, I probably wouldn't still enjoy it because of the reasons I fucking just listed there. Um,
Right, your first
but
impression. Like I said, first
yeah,
impression is everything, and now you're always going to be. You're
yeah,
always going to have that negative. I don't want to say negativity, but you're always going to have like that original
yeah,
playthrough in the back of your mind.
yeah, exactly. And the thing is, like, I do give games a chance. Like, if they were to make a Remothered 3, I'd be like, do you know what? I'll give you a chance. If it looks like promising, I'll give it a chance. But yeah,
That's
I'm
another
not
thing for
one of
me.
those
Like,
people that swear off something because of,
yeah, it's like this is game two.
yeah,
The first one was amazing.
yeah,
Like depending on who you talk to,
yeah,
and depending on who you talk to for Broken Porcelain.
yeah,
You know, there could be people who love both. It's all opinion based, and
yeah,
nobody's actually correct.
yeah, exactly.
That's the best part about discussions. That's why I love doing podcasts and shit like
Yeah,
that.
I think uh, I think that's why when it comes to our next segment with the story, I think that's why it's going to be a bit more. It's going to be a bit more of an interesting discussion because I want to
Mm-hmm.
see how you view the story and also storytelling compared to my views as well.
Okay,
So,
well, I'm gonna let you take it then.
gonna let me take it
Yes.
with Remothered Broken Porcelain. As I was playing it, I there were some scenes that were quite well written, and I'm like, do you know what? This is actually an engaging scene. And then there were some bits as well where I'm like, do you know what? This is actually really good story. There's like a lot of good story details, and on paper it would have been fucking fantastic. But the main problem with this game isn't the story necessarily; it's how they tell that story.
Yep.
I think there is so many scenes where like there's a golden rule in like writing which I learned a couple of years back, and it was show don't tell. And in this game, there was a lot of cutscenes where they just tell you information instead of actually having it be like a natural discussion. It's something that would be like realistic. It was just sort of like, oh, here's the information you need, and then it would just sort of fire it at you. There were so many scenes where I'm just like sitting here, I'm like, I'm just getting information thrown at me and not actually watching a story unfold. Like, you know?
Yeah.
And there was a lot of that. And I was saying to you even before when I was like, there were so much details that you could have left to, again, exploration. Where, like, again, Ashman abusing his sister and stuff like that. Instead of that coming up in the first 10 minutes of the game in a random bit of dialogue, you could have had that in his diary or some bit of other evidence in his room, or have it later unveiled in a sadistic way or something like that, and not blatantly just telling you, which I found really irritating. It just sort of feels like whenever it comes to like games or movies or whatever or TV or whatever that tells a story like this, it just feels like they don't have enough confidence that the player will understand it, so they just sort of
Mm-hmm.
tell you outright. You know?
Yeah. And this is where we start differing.
Right. See, yeah,
I'm completely opposite. I actually really appreciate the story they were trying to tell. I
yeah,
actually thought the story was I'm pretty much on point when it comes to like what Only Pastry's saying in chat here. The music, the sound design, and the story is what actually kept me playing.
yeah,
I like the fact not many game developers can actually, go back and forth and do that correctly, like the
yeah.
time warp.
Mm-hmm.
But I felt like they did, and from what we were told about all of Rosemary's history, it actually makes me want to go back now and play the original because it adds so much to her character.
Yeah.
It makes you appreciate, well, me at least, it makes me appreciate the small little details they put in for the character development. And like I said, like Remothered is what, 2 years old now?
Yeah.
And now it's actually given us a reason to go back and be like, oh my God, now I can re-experience the story from a completely different light.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. I didn't like the transitions, like I said, but the story itself, it kept me entertained. There were some plot twists I didn't see coming.
Yeah.
Which I know we said spoilers, but I really don't want to spoil the big one.
Yeah. Well, it's like I said before, like I do enjoy the story. Like, see, now finishing it and going back and then like revisiting like the story elements in my head and being like, oh, that happened and this what happened to that character. This would be an interesting book or film or show to like watch or read. But when it came to the actual game and how it was told in game, I just didn't like how it was told in game.
I will say that. I think Remothered being a video game held it back. It should have been either a novel.
Yeah.
Or Chris should have had more control over it in the direction that it went and more say over it. I think it would have either made a great novel, a manga, or a Netflix series.
Like, see, one thing, right? The mystery of the porcelain is one key thing I would say when it came to the storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
They mentioned that like straight off the bat in the first hour or two, where they're like, "Oh, it's Wyman," and it's like, "What? Wait, what do you mean it's just Wyman?" And then I was like, "Oh yeah," I was expecting like a twist where it's like it wasn't really Wyman, or it isn't purely, or what's the words I'm trying to say? It isn't Wyman who is in the porcelain thing, and no, it is Wyman. And I'm like,
it's his mind.
Okay. It is his mind, yeah. And I know there's like a bunch of other like elements around that, but the fact that they just flat out admit, oh yeah, that's Wyman, instead of leaving that mystery there. Like imagine going into the basement where the porcelain lives and uncovering that it is Wyman. Like you look in the poster on the wall, it's like, oh yeah, like Wyman, like fate, or like, oh yeah, he is dead or whatever.
Oh, you know what? That's actually a really good comparison because they did that Remothered one where you find the newspaper about Felton.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's like, imagine you uncover the porcelain's identity and discovering that Wyman is alive, kinda, by just letting the player just go in, explore, and then they are showed it instead of being told it. You know?
Mm-hmm.
You get what I mean?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So that I would say that's a good example of what I'm trying to say in terms of the storytelling. When it is literally just like things being told at me instead of just me letting me uncover it for myself and let me unravel the mystery for myself instead of just being like some character just tells me it. You know?
Yeah.
It's just that. Oh man, it's exhausting.
It's like, I don't know. It's really freaking weird. Like I really enjoyed the story, but it's not something that I don't think it's going to have that lasting impact, but it did, like, even after I finished it, it made me sit down and I'm questioning, like, everything. Like I said, going back to Remothered 1 now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. Like, see, the last hour was pretty good.
Yeah. Like I said, when we switched to Rosemary, no spoilers for that part, that's what I wanted more of.
Yeah. But, again, they didn't give this game more time. Because I felt like it was very cramped.
It did. Honestly, I felt like, how should I put this? It felt like the part where we switched over to Rosemary.
Yeah.
There was something missing story-wise.
Yeah. Exactly.
I don't even know how to sum that up, but it just felt like something was missing.
At what part were you switched to Rosemary? As in the first time you see her, or?
The first time you take control of her.
Right, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get you there.
Also, again, that actually really confused me. I didn't know we had to equip our... You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah, the tape recorder.
Yeah.
I was so confused until, like, until because at that point there was very few bits where I had to look up a tutorial or anything. That was like the only bit where I was like, do you know what? I'm gonna see what the hell you may need to do, because I was like throwing distractions around. I was like, what on earth are we doing?
Yeah, we're not going to jump around, but they are
Yeah,
putting in like a key item for the inventory thing. I don't know
yeah,
why it wasn't there to begin with, but I was so confused for like an hour.
yeah. I was running about the place trying to figure everything out. I was like, do I turn off
Well,
the power?
they
Like,
don't tell you either that you
yeah,
can use your keypad to switch your items on the fly.
yeah. But man, they should have. Yeah. Again, it's like you find out by looking in your inventory and be like, oh, what's that? Oh, there's this thing. And then figuring out how it works. Like, I just held in the recording button and never knew I had to press another button to stop the recording. So I just kept
Yeah,
recording the voice. I'm like, why is it not working? I don't know if the game's
why?
broken or if it's me.
I didn't realize either
Yeah.
where your equipped item is on your like your UI.
Yeah.
There's a bar when you're recording that goes up.
Oh.
Yeah,
Never seen that. Never seen it.
but yeah,
Very few
story
things.
like I said, it kept me interested
Yeah.
until playing. Like I said, that was like the most redeeming factor for me, the story, because
Yeah.
I wanted to know what happened, who these characters are, how they actually connect together. I don't know. I thought if there isn't another Remother, I'm not going to spoil like the ending,
Hmm.
but it kind of like
It's
it
like a
puts
final.
everything to a close. Yeah,
Yeah.
finale.
It's a finale.
So if there isn't another Remothered, honestly, I'm kind of okay with that.
Yeah. It's just disappointing. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like you see with this game, I don't hate it. I'm just passionately disappointed by it.
No, I got that.
Yeah,
I do. We
because
spent like the
yeah,
better of the last year just promoting the hell out of it.
yeah, it's like I was constantly talking about it, and the thing is, I genuinely believed it was going to be a good game, because I was like, do you know what? They're improving from Remothered 1. They're going to add
Yep.
all these cool things into it. I'm excited, and then you play it, and you're like, what happened? What happened? I want to find out.
I don't even know how they could screw it up. It's like I said,
Yeah,
it's running on the same engine, same controls.
mm. It's strange, so strange. I just hope that
So, how do you feel overall? Like, even going back with like now knowing what you know with Remothered 1,
yeah.
does it like give you a different perspective on Remothered 1?
Kinda. Where it's like, because I think like the way it's written in Remothered 1, where it's like, oh, it's like Jennifer sort of, no, Jennifer, Rosemary tracking down Jennifer and going right to the start, and then
Mm-hmm.
being like, oh yeah, like where did you go from there? Flemington School. All right, okay. And then finding the bag and everything. Do you know what? Actually, the more I say about it, the
And the
more I
piano
think.
key.
In the piano key, yeah. The more I think about it, it's actually pretty cool, yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah,
So it doesn't help Broken Porcelain, but it helps
yeah,
the original for some reason. It's really
yeah.
weird.
Like I think if I was ever to play, if I was ever to play Tormented Fathers again, which I probably will, I
Yeah,
would
I'm
probably
definitely
watch like I would probably watch a Broken Porcelain video where like that has a more structured like recap story thing or something like that
you
to
could
get it
probably
more.
find on YouTube like somebody compiling the cutscenes together.
Yeah, mm-hmm. Probably. But
But yeah, like
yeah.
overall, are you? If this was the finale, like, are you okay with that happening? Or
I think now, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Like again, like what the stories came to a close. What else do they need to tell? And they did hint at the whole oh, the other Jennifers and stuff like that, but we don't care.
yeah, I was just gonna say I literally
I
don't
don't.
care. We
I
got our Jennifer.
literally don't care. Yeah. There's like, oh yeah, they revealed in the interview is like, oh yeah, like his sister disappeared or something like that, and it's like, okay,
Yeah, I don't even know why they showed
don't
us that.
care.
I just did not care.
Yeah, it's like, all right then, that explains why he's there. Maybe he just wanted to learn the story.
It explained the milk
Like,
cartons.
yeah, explain the milk cartons. That was a cute. That was a fun collectible.
Yeah. Although I
uh,
will say it was
yeah,
kind of awesome that me and Bundy joked for since Remothered Tormented Fathers came out about the snow globes, and then
yeah,
they
the
became
snuggles.
little unlockables.
Yeah, that was fun. That was really fun. But I guess like the final thing to say, like I was going to go into like the whole future of survival horror, but that could be a completely different podcast in general.
It
Which
really could.
can speak for another hour about that. But I think one last thing I want to talk about, which only Pashvi says in the chat, saying what could they do with Remothered 3? Felt like this game just came to a closure. I want to ask you, AJ, if they were to do a Remothered 3, what would you want it to be?
Honestly, probably the convent.
Yeah.
Like the story behind that entire thing. Like they could do an entire thing about like the night that Rosemary lit the fire.
Yeah.
Everything that led up to that. But at the same point, it's like
Been...
we already had our prequel.
Yeah, you could have like a short film explain that, you know?
Yeah, it's honestly
Yeah.
difficult to answer that because, like you said, the game does close itself.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. Honestly, at this point, I hope Chris moves on to something else.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, I think the game, Remothered being a game, just held it back.
It did. It really did.
I just, and it comes down to the thing too. Not every game needs like multiple sequels. That's what ruins it.
Yeah.
For example, Bundy's opinion on Remothered Broken Porcelain.
Yeah, exactly. The thing is, like, if there was ever to be like another Remothered game, I would hope for it just to be a spin-off, tell its own wee story of like someone got their hands on Phenoxyl and then takes over somewhere and things unravel and there's a weird fucking mystery to it. Like that'd be interesting. That'd be fun. But
I think my
yeah.
issue is I wouldn't be able to separate Remothered from Rosemary now. Like if she
Yeah.
was not in the game, I wouldn't probably enjoy it. But her story's done. That's the issue.
Yeah, that's the thing. But, yeah, that was.
So what would you grade it, Bundy? Like out of 5?
A 2. 5 stars. I would give it a 2.
I'm gonna give it 1 more just because I enjoyed the story a little bit more than you did. So probably a 3 out of 5. And after patching, maybe a 3.5 out of 4.
Yeah, probably. It's again like it's annoying where it's like I want like I enjoy what the story is, just not how it's being told.
And you guys don't get it. Bundy has so much passion when it comes to the series.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why like whenever like I just said there, I was like I'm very passionately disappointed by this game.
I could see it in your face. I can tell that you're really upset.
Yeah.
And I get it. I do.
It's really irritating.
It's actually kind of funny because we're a generation apart. So this is basically your Angel of Darkness.
Yeah. Essentially, yeah.
Yep.
Oh man, I think for me, I'm tired of just being disappointed this year. It's just a disappointment after disappointment. I'm like,
in games in general. Like
yeah.
Nothing, like I said, we're a generation apart.
Yeah.
So I grew up with all this old school horror to begin with. So I think nostalgia glasses might be clouding my judgment a little bit because we don't have this kind of stuff anymore. Yeah. And Bundy's more used to like the modernized gameplay and shit like that.
Yeah, I would say, but for me as well, like I grew up with classic survival horror, but just at a younger age than what you were growing up with it. You know,
it's just really like I can't even put my finger on. Like I'm not disappointed.
Yeah,
but I'm not happy either. Like I don't feel content with it.
Yeah, they could have done a much better job. Much better job. It's just
Just a little shout to Chris. Chris, we know what you were trying to do. We don't blame you.
Chris, make a short series, 10 episodes. Do it. There you are. You can tell your Remothered story. It would be much better. Much better if you have that there, I would say.
Honestly, I'd say if you're listening, Chris, just take a break for a little bit, recuperate, get your, start writing, but don't have like an idea or anything set out in stone.
Yeah.
Just get back to writing and find what you want to do.
And maybe we can have him on in the podcast, like later in the future.
It would be nice.
We talk to him about a bunch of stuff. Yeah. That would be pretty fun. That'd be really fun, actually. But yeah, that wraps up today's episode of the Mighty Cunapple Show. Kind of more less happy than usual, but it's fine. It's all good. It's all good. But we will have AJ back because we still need to talk about the future and current standing of survival horror in general. And that's a discussion topic I really want to talk about because I feel like
that's gonna be a lot more in depth.
Yeah, like that. We need more than an hour to talk about that. So yeah, that is us for today. AJ, is there any final thoughts, any final notes that you want to end on?
Don't trust people's opinions. Try the game for yourself.
Exactly. Do it.
Like I said, the entire podcast, people could either agree with us or not, but at the same point, just try the game out for yourself. Always experience a game for yourself first and foremost. Your opinion at the end of the day is the main one that matters.
Yeah, exactly. And that is us for today. Tune in next week. I don't know what's happening next week. AJ, maybe you can come back on next week and do the survival horror thing. I don't know. But it's up to you.
I'm free.
Yeah. Well, anyway, thank you all for watching the episode. And again, tune into Spotify, iTunes, or Twitch every Sunday, or on YouTube to watch the Mighty Cunapple Show. Thank you all for tuning in. I shall see you all there. Bye-bye.
Bye.